I'm going to share a few tips for helping your child master learning numerals. Numerals refers to the symbols that represent the numbers. So whenever we say numeral, we're talking specifically about these symbols that represent the numbers and not the word or the quantity, but the way that we write it. So what I did that you can do at home, I just cut some scrap paper into fourths. You can see it's just anything you have can work. It could be a paper bag, whatever. It doesn't have to be the size. And we're going to do the numbers. We only want to introduce one or two or three new ones at a time. So often we'll start with 1 to 3. Once they have that, we can add 4 and 5, then 6 and 7, then 8 and 9. And the first step is to tell them what the number is. You'll say this is 2, and we'll trace it. Now in the classroom we have ones that have texture. This obviously doesn't. If you want to add a bead of glue or something to give it texture, you can. We can also write it in a cornmeal tray. But just seeing it is, it's not as kinesthetic, but it will still, help them. Having the movement will help. And the other thing I have is I just made a strip with the numbers on it. Now kids can really easily go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's good to know the counting sequence. It does not mean that they actually know which number goes with which symbol outside of seeing them in this order. So we want them to be able to say this is 3, this is 7, without having it in order. So when you're working with the numbers, another thing you can do to help practice if it seems like they're having trouble remembering it, a game we like to do is, say they're mixing up 2 and 3. Say, okay, here's 2, trace 2, what is it? It's 2. Again, as much repetition as we can. And then I'll say, okay, close your eyes. I'm going to hide it. And so they close their eyes and I'm just going to move it to a different location. I say, open your eyes. Can you find it? And usually they can. I'll say 2. If they point to this, I'll say, oh, that's 3. Look, here's 2. What is it? 2. Trace 2. What is it? 2. Again, over and over, just to get that repetition. And then I'll say, close your eyes. I'm going to hide it again. Another thing you can do is matching. I'll say, okay, this is 2. Can you find 2 on the number strip? Is that they're comparing the symbols. You could make a second set of these and, just have them practice making sure they can see the difference, because that's the first step, is to make sure that they can see that there is a visual difference, say, between 2 and 3. If some children, this is really hard for them to internalize this. And so for some kids, what I've found is helpful is we'll have like a little phrase. Sometimes for 3, we'll say bumpity bump 3 as we're tracing it. With 7, we'll say 7. And we call this spiral 6. So sometimes having a little phrase with it can help with the kids who have a little bit more trouble with that visual memory. So feel free to play around. Anything you can do to keep them getting that repetition and practice. And again, don't rush it. We really want them to feel confident and successful. So anytime before you start working on some new numbers, make sure you've reviewed what they already know. And another way that the number strip can be useful, if we're going back the next day and I say, okay, do you remember which one is 6? And they aren't sure. Then I'll say, okay, let's go check on the number strip. Can you find it on the number strip? And so then this is where that counting sequence is useful. So they can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's 6. Now can you find the card with 6 on it? And so then hopefully then that will help give them that visual reminder, and then they can go and find 6 and we'll trace it. Maybe we'll say, go put 6 on the couch. And then, we just incorporating movement can also help. Or let's trace 6 in the cornmeal tray. If you want to really get adventurous, you can put some shaving cream on a table and make the numbers in shaving cream. But yeah, just try and keep it light and fun and really focus on building their sense of success and confidence.